Hey guys, and welcome finally back to the channel. I have a very special and I think very important lesson for you today. It's kind of a more basic lesson than some of the other content here on the channel, but it's not necessarily a beginner lesson. I too enjoy watching lessons like these very much because now we're getting to the base of something. So let's start right away. When we start to learn the drums, we learn our grooves, we learn our fills. We start to play our first songs, and everything's perfectly fine as long as every note is written out on the sheet of music. But as you progress, you'll soon see charts like these, where it literally just says fill, so there's no actual fill written out for you. You have to come up with your own fill. To all beginner drummers, this may shock you. However, this is 90% of what's happening out there in the real world. Why? I tell you later. First, we're going to come up with a cool little library of what to play here. Guys, if you like this video, please, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel so you'll always stay updated on what I'm doing here. It doesn't cost you anything and you help me out a great deal. There's no better way of showing appreciation. Unless you also want to give this video a like and a comment. Visit my homepage, simonspringer.online. I have my own little online school going on there with a couple of exclusive lessons that are not free on YouTube. There will be some new ones on there very soon. And also visit my Instagram at SimonSpringerMusic. There you'll always stay updated on what I'm up to. But let's now start with the actual lesson here. Concerning this specific scenario that we just talked about, where it says fill, but there's no fill written out, you have to play your own fill. I basically came across two different types of students in my years of teaching. One thing both of those two types have in common is sheer panic.
Type 1 gets nervous, panicky, and tries to think of the next best fill he learned and shoves it up the rear end of the tune. No matter if it fits stylistically, dynamically, and even tempo-wise or not. Type 2 gets nervous, panicky, stiffs up, and doesn't play a fill at all.
Both of them lack the experience of knowing what works and also of being able to come up with the decision by themselves on the spot. So let's fix that. First of all, repeat after me. A drum fill is not a drum solo. It's not a special solo spot for you to shine. It can be, but most of the times it's not. It's not something special, it's not something that puts you on a pedestal. It's just a tiny little variation, a little movement to propel the music further. Does it have to be a little drum solo? Does it have to be special or stick out? No, most of the times absolutely not. Not only does it not have to stick out, most of the times it must not stick out. Listen to your favorite pop and rock recordings and you'll find out that very often you don't even realize that the drummer is playing a fill without paying special attention to the drum part. You're going from a verse to the chorus, the energy is building up, and you release it by playing a little segue into the new part of the song with the new beat. It gives your bandmates and listener the emotional cue to go on. You express that energy of we're going somewhere. So in playing a fill, you're kind of more like a conductor more than a soloist. You're building up the music and following it onwards. And all those things with a clear signal. Let's talk about length. In beginner drum books, the first fills you learn are 1 bar fills, so a whole bar of fill-in. When I play a pop gig, I do maybe 1 whole bar fill per night. And maybe not even that. I play a couple of more half-bar fills, but even they are big fills, depending on the tempo, of course. The most common fill is actually the 1 beat fill. You just fill on beat 4 or around beat 4 of a 4/4 bar. So that's already very important. Forget your solistic 1 bar fills and concentrate on short, little 1 beat embellishments. A fill can be tiny and very subtle, like for example, the opening of the hi-hats. A change of the bass drum pattern. Or you double your backbeat on 4 with floor tom. Or you play a big old flam on 4. And all of those examples might already fit your song better than... So why do we learn fills like these in the first place? Well, you have to start somewhere. It's just a logical and easy way to learn how to get around the drums. And there are applications for those fills. I'm just saying that there also are not. Let's look at the classic Debby Boone fill on beat 4. Boom, chak, boom, Debby Boone, boom, chak, boom, boom, Debby Boone. We can now also embellish it with grace notes, drags, bass drum hits, and so on. This is already like 70% of what I do on a pop gig. Let's look at our first half bar fill, so 2 beats, beats 3 and 4 mostly. We now elongate our Debby Boone fill to the beloved and famous Pat Boone Debby Boone fill. Pat Boone Debby Boone, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, cha, boom, Pat Boone Debby Boone. Ah. Of course, we can orchestrate this a couple of ways. And again, embellish and vary it. If we now take this kind of idea and make it a whole bar fill, we now suddenly realize how soloistic and special that would be within the context of the music. So again, whole bar fills are not very common and do put you on the pedestal, kind of. Imagine 2 bar fills. Then we're definitely talking about a more soloistic approach. But again, half bar fills, and most of all, 1 beat fills, is what pays the bills. A fill often builds up tension. You can play a fill like this to really emphasize this build-up. Or just by opening the hi-hats gradually, you can again underline this principle of building up energy. But then again, a fill can also release tension when, the energy goes down. When it goes from the chorus back to the verse, you suck it back, like this, for example. Ringo Starr from the Beatles often played continuous 8th notes in his bass drum, while adding, some snare and tom accents on top of that. If you're a beginner and you're stuck with your standard 8th note tom fill, try staying with that pattern, but cutting different holes in it, so you leave different strokes out. Next, you can change your movement from clockwise to counterclockwise. Or even to an X-shaped movement. At some later points, the real power of longer and maybe more soloistic drum fills and then even drum solos, of course, comes with hand-foot combinations. but that topic will definitely be its own video at some point. To sum up, again, a fill can be basically anything, so don't be afraid, don't panic. Try some new stuff out, take this lesson as an inspiration and come up with a vast library of easy yet musical and functional and perfectly fitting drum fills for your pop rock songs. And really try stuff out, I mean it. Be creative and then you'll learn what works and what doesn't. And playing a spontaneous self-made drum fill with good intention that maybe doesn't really fit that much is still better than just playing fill number 7 from page 21 of your drum book that will also not fit. If you're more advanced and professional, and if you really play the music, when you really play the song, all those fills should happen automatically without even thinking about the drum part, just by shaping the music. But of course, first you have to get all this into your system. Only then can it come out, spontaneously and creatively. So again, I talked about those 2 types of students in the beginning. For the students of the first type, try to work on new and shorter ideas that work better. And for students of the second type, don't panic and keep in mind that your fill can be very short and simple and also even just a small variation of what you're already doing. And now back to answer our question from the very beginning of this video. Why are there almost never any written out drum fills in professional charts? Drum books are written by drummers. They know what sounds good and also what represents the level of the student at a certain point in time. Charts in the real world are most often not written by drummers, but by piano players, guitar players, singers, who might not really know all that much about drum fills, and also they are convinced that their drummer will know better than themselves. Most of the times, if there is a written out drum fill, the drummer will not play it anyways, but will come up with his own idea of, how to give direction, how to shape the music at this point. And also being about that it can only be, a very short, slight and tiny variation. Why write it out? It only costs time. The pro drummer will know what to do. There are always only a couple of things that really work and the pro drummer will do one of those things. And also another reason why this video is very important, forget the charts. You should be able to eventually jam with the band without any sheet music whatsoever. So having a library of good grooves, and we're going to work on our grooves as well. They are much more important than the fills. And also some well-working fills is key to being a more intermediate and later pro drummer. Thanks guys for watching, for hanging in there till the end. I think this video might be very important for some of you out there. There will be new stuff on the channel very soon too. Until then, again, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like and a comment if you want to. Visit my homepage, my Instagram, and check out all the other stuff on the channel as well. For example, my completely free 17-episode course on hand technique. And I'll see you next time.